Good evening, everyone. If you can hear me, kindly use the chat box and confirm that you can hear me. You can also use emoji. Okay. Okay. Let's start our class. So, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So, my name is Abdul Kabir Yusuf Aremu, ACTI. The founder and lead tutor at Apex Professional Associates. You are welcome to Apex Professional Associates class for May 2025 diets. We will be having our first introductory class to taxation for today. Ordinarily, I'm supposed not to be your tutor for tonight, but unavoidably, your scheduled tutor called in, and then we said there was an emergency, so ordinarily we should have just postponed the class, but because we did not have any class last week, and then this week as well, I do not want us to not have this class, and that is why we are having this class now. But before that, let me share the YouTube live stream to the group so that people that are not able to join the Google Meets can join. So once again, my name remains the same, Yusuf Abdul Kabir Aremu, ACTI. You can call me KY Badmus. That's my initial. And then I will be facilitating this class for tonight. So going forward, you may not be seeing me in your classes. But for tonight, as God would have it. So you guys are seeing me in your class for tonight. Before we move on, I think the first thing we need to do is to ask for your expectation. What are your expectations? What are your expectations for this class? I want to believe that you are not new to taxation, especially for those of you that studied accounting, or those of you that are in the taxation space, right? This should not be new to you. So I'm going to allow you guys to unmute yourself, and what you will do for me is very, very simple. So what you will do, just raise your hand. If I do not call you, please do not say anything. Those are the rules and regulations that guide our class. Make sure you are called before you say something. So please raise your hand if you know how to do so. If you don't know how to do so, just look at the button beneath, whether you're joining with your phone or your system, you will see something like a hand. So what are your expectations for these classes? Ayinla is saying, someone is disturbing me. Someone has started disturbing me. And this is what I do not like. Who is that person? If I remove the person now, I will not look like a bad person. Okay, let me just remove the person. Since that person does not know how to maintain the decorum. Well done, Alice. Kindly excuse us. Thank you, Alice. Another person. Ayinla, is that you?
Yes.
Is there a noise at your background? If there is a noise,
There is a noise.
let me call another person. Okay. Thank you. Please, if there is
There's
a
noise here.
noise from your background, just mute yourself, please. Hello, Ayla, can you mute yourself? Okay, let me call another person. Please, if you know that there is a noise, do not raise your hand. Please, I need someone that will not disturb us with noise, please. What are your expectations from this class? Ayla, I said you can mute yourself. I'm going to call another person. Elizabeth, can you say something? What is your expectation for this class? Elizabeth, are you there? Okay. Since Elizabeth is not Benga Oyelakin, can you tell us something? What is your expectation from this class? What's going on? Is it that you guys can't turn up your microphone? I'm calling people, but they're not answering. Benga, are you there? Okay, Adedayo.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, sir.
What is your expectation for the class?
Well, first and foremost is to get used with the basis of taxation because I'm
Can you be
new
more
to
audible?
taxation. Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you, but it's not audible enough. Go ahead.
I said I'm new to taxation, so I'm looking forward to getting used to the basis of taxation, the rudiment tax laws that guide this current stage that we are, and
Okay, that's fine.
Yes.
That's fine. So to have a good background of the tax and tax industry. Okay, that's fine. Adeni Olajuwonlo, can you give us your own expectation?
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening.
This is very audible.
So, especially for someone not coming from accounting background, my expectation is to master the Nigerian tax laws and regulation and the practical application of tax principle, especially in relation to adversary service and exposure to international concept, if there may be in this class. So that's all from my end.
Okay. Well done. Thank you, Adeniwa. Well done. Can you unmute yourself and
Okay, good evening, sir.
good evening.
Okay, I'm very much happy to be among this group, sir. Expectations in this diet about taxation is for me to truly understand the Nigerian tax law and its application, so that at the end of when the result will be out, I should be able to be proud of myself and say I've actually learned it through APES professional. Thank you, sir.
Okay, same as Adeniwa. I like that. The tax system and to pass. That's more important. Okay, I think the last person, Maureen. Okay, Maureen is not here with us.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Oh, good evening. I thought you are not with us. What is your expectation for this class?
My expectation is to know more about the tax law and how it's applicable in our present economy, and also to get good grades in taxation at the end of the mid-direct exams.
Okay, that's a very good one. Maureen,
Thank you, sir.
good, great. Can you mute yourself? Thank you. Please, everyone, kindly mute yourself. Okay, so we are good with this, right? These are our expectations. Okay. Okay, so if these are our expectations, what are our approaches? The first approach is talking about knowledge. You need to know first. Okay, I want to pass. You cannot pass except you know. The second approach we are going to use here, so that all these expectations can be met, is to apply what we know, either in the examination or in practice. I hope someone is putting things down, right? Just get your notes and be putting them down, be jotting things. This class may not take more than maybe an hour or an hour and a half. So the second approach is to apply what we know. Because some persons, we realized some situation whereby people know something, but they are not able to pass. Why? Because there is a disconnection between what they know and how to apply it in the examination hall. And they come out failing. And you'll be like, but it was you that taught me this thing and I passed. Why did you not pass? Something is missing. So we are going to take a look at that. Then our other approach is the examination tips. How do you tackle questions under exam condition? Our major expectation here is to pass, right? So how do you do that? And possibly maybe get a prize for us at TPS so that we can use you to shine, to say, one of our students too, he got a prize. So we also want that. We want that to happen. So then another approach that we're going to use is to get ourselves familiar with some examiners' comments on maybe some pitfalls, some of the things that they expect students to know or to do and they did not do. So we are going to take a look at some few examiner comments. So those are our approaches. Then the next is, what are the resource materials? The first and the primary resource material is your study pack. Primary. You have to get yourself used and familiar with your study pack. The second one is the summarized notes by Apex. Though this is not free, right? But it's very affordable. I think for all skill subjects, we have actually put the price to be 2,000 naira per subject, except for professional level where we have different price. But for foundation and skills level is 2,000 naira. So that is also your material that you are going to make use of, right? Then the past question guide by Apex, freely available. This is one of our generally used resource material. Let me put it that way. It's available online. Every single tuition center use it, right? Why? Because it is unprecedented. Anyone that does something like this actually came up with it after we did our own. So because it has been available as far as 2020, 2019. So when people saw it, they copied. And they tried to do some things like that. In fact, some persons, they don't even copy. They plagiarized it. And then, well, it is very widely known that this is from Apex. Who is uniqueness, the setting, the arrangement, and the reason why you would know that people that said they did something like this, they plagiarize, is that even the subjects that I did not do this past question guide for, those subjects, there is no past question guide available for them up to now, which is the business law and the BMF. I did not do past question guide for them. And up to now, no one did it. So it's very, very funny. So anyone that says, yeah, it's their own idea, I'll be like, okay, can you come again? So that's by the way. So then the last but not the least is the Pathfinder. Very, very important. The Pathfinder past questions, very important. So these are our resource. These are our resource materials that we are going to be making use of. Okay. Having said that, let's move to the class proper so that we do not waste much of our time. So I'm going to be sharing what we'll be using for tonight's class, believing that you all have your study pack. The soft copy is available. I'm going to even share it after the class so that everyone can download. And if you can get the hard copy, it's fine. You can also get it. So, let's take a look at what we have. This is your study pack, your primary test. This is the one that I can release in 2021, right? And ever since then, from 2021 up to date, there is a whole lot of changes that have occurred in the taxation space, in the tax industry. I am in the industry, I'm in the tax industry, so I'm very much aware of what goes on. The turbulent space. So there is virtually every single now and then updates that goes on in the taxation industry. And we are also having like a big total change in the taxation regime in Nigeria that is being proposed as we speak, though it has not seen the light of the day. So it's still under proposal. So a whole lot of stakeholders have been consulted, they have been engaged, yet there is still so much pushback from some stakeholders as well. So that's by the way. So this study pack is not updated. I can have not updated it, right? Which means there will be some few taxation updates or laws that are not in the study pack. And that is why you have to keep yourself abreast of what is going on in the industry, in the news, business news, finance news. You have to be updated. So that's our first material. Then this is our summary notes. That's what we'll be using for tonight. This is the past question guide. If you have not gotten something like this, please get it. And we are going to share it, sure. So once we share, you can also share with some of our other colleagues in your tuition centers or in anywhere you belong to, right? So let's start. Taxation. Let me get you introduced to the paper. I like this. This has been my own style. And if you're familiar with most of my summary notes, you will realize that I usually have a forward to most of the courses, right? And that's how I teach. That's how I also read. I first of all break down the syllabus I want to read into a very simpler manner that it will be at the tip of my finger. So everyone will understand. Myself, I will understand. So because it works for me, I'm sure if you use this approach, it is going to also work for you. So let's move on. So this paper, it has been my own style to give students an introductory glimpse of what each paper looks like. So this will open their eye and prepare them ahead of what they are going to come across in the subjects and the syllabus. Taxation as a paper has been moving from one level to another. I think, so it used to be, this I is not I, it used to be, let me change it. It used to be, I think the diets that I started ICANN, that was in November 2018. Taxation was in skills. So I think 2 diets after that. So in November 2019, ICANN changed its syllabus and they moved taxation to foundation between 2019 and May 2021 for 4 diets. And that is why you will realize that in this past question guide, you will realize that when the diets are coming, after May 2019, November 2019, I said in brackets, foundation level Pathfinder. March and July 2020, foundation level Pathfinder. November 2020, foundation level Pathfinder. Then May 2021, foundation level Pathfinder. Before ICANN now changed our syllabus again in 2021, which took effect from November 2021. So that syllabus that they changed in 2019 only took effect for 2 years, I think. So, and that was the diet they were also proposing to have 3 diets in a year, but it did not work out. COVID came and then disrupted so many things. So they just maintained their 2 diets up until now. But now it has been taken back to skills level. It is an advanced paper to taxation. An advanced paper to taxation will be studied in professional level. What we are telling you here is that this taxation paper that you are doing in skills is to prepare you for an advanced taxation paper in professional level. And what it means is that you have to be very serious with it. And because the reason is because the knowledge you will acquire here will be useful in professional level. In professional level. The knowledge you acquire here will be useful in professional level. Okay, this is a very practical paper because it is indigenous. And it is indigenous because it has to do with our local laws and acts, policies, practices. So, and our own system here. Taxation in Nigeria is different from taxation in Ghana. And the reason why it will be different is because the system, the rates, the applicability, the tax basis, it will be different. Every country will have its own tax system and tax regime. So that's why it is indigenous. It is a local paper because you will realize that other papers, I can go to maybe like PM or FI, I can go to every other examination body to borrow questions. But for taxation, PSAP, advanced taxation, business law, they won't do that because these are indigenous papers. So there's no way they won't go to ACC to go and borrow questions, but there's no question to borrow there. The UK tax law is different from our own law. They will not go to India or Pakistan or Institute of Accountants of Pakistan to go and borrow questions. They will not go. So these are indigenous papers. So most of the questions we'll be seeing in taxation or advanced taxation are practical questions that relate to what consultants are coming across in practice. Most of your examiners are consultants. So some of them, they work in practice, some of them are in the industry. So every single, most of the times, the questions you'll be seeing in your examination all are practical questions. So, and there's a whole lot of questions that can come across. Students are advised to open their minds to what is trending in the financial sector of the country, most especially taxation subsectors. We have the financial sector as a whole, a big sector, right? And under it, we now have the taxation sector, subsector. So in the financial sector of the industry, you'll be seeing some news relating to maybe banking sector, right? Like a financial institution. You're seeing some news relating to maybe economic policy. But this one, anything that has to do with fiscal policy has to do with taxation. It will affect taxation. And lately, there's a whole lot going on. Kudos to the president as he appointed one of our leading tax personnel in the industry or in consulting to champion the affairs of tax for the past 2 years. He has been doing a lot, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele. So he has been doing a lot to make a whole lot of reforms, bringing a whole lot of suggestions, borrowing some ideas here and there, and he has actually come up with this because a whole lot of committee and stakeholders have joined us together and have put heads together to make sure that the Nigerian taxation system is reasonable enough, right? So subsectors and agencies like FRS and other relevant tax authority in respective states, in a nutshell, knowledge beyond what is contained in this book is required. Let me highlight that. It's very, very important. Knowledge beyond what is contained in the book is required to pass this paper. So one of the good things for you is that most of those practical questions, I kind of tested them, right? So you will see them in your past questions. So if you are familiar with them, very very well. So let's take a look at what the syllabus entails. The syllabus comprises of 4 sections. So section A, B, C, and D. So the first section has to do with introduction to tax and tax administration. It covers from chapter 1 to 6. Section B has to do with transaction taxes. Transaction taxes are taxes that occurs every single now and then. So it will only not occur when you do not carry out transactions. So these are taxes that each time you are transacting with someone, maybe you are buying or you are selling, they will always come up. Example are VAT, withholding tax, stamp duties, and others, right? These are transactional taxes. So, and it covers from chapter 7 to 12. And also it carries 20% weight of the syllabus. So then the third one is personal taxes, personal income taxes. It comprises of from chapter 13 to 16, and it carries 30% of the syllabus. Then the last but not the least is business income tax, which is like companies income tax, right? So it comprises of chapter 17 to 25, and it carries 30% weight. So this is your syllabus in a nutshell. And this is the course outline. It's a paper of 25 chapters. 25 chapters. So amongst 25 chapters, we also have some what is it called? Some current issues that will be coming in play, like the application of information technology and taxation. So that is all about the introductory aspects. Yeah, so having said that, I want us to give a quick remark on the introductory aspect that we've just given. We spent like maybe like a 45 minutes already. Is someone trying to ask a question? Or it is a mistake? Okay. Who is that? Is it a mistake?
Hello?
Hello. Do you have question? Please do not distract us, please. We will accommodate questions after the class. So let's continue. Let's move on. So you can give a remark on the chat box. Those of you that are joining us online on YouTube, just give a few remarks on the introductory aspect that we've just given. So give a few remarks, what you expect, your expectation. If you have not given your expectation, you can write it, type it on the chat box. Let's make it engaging. Someone is there to monitor and attend to your queries online. So apologies that all of us cannot be here because of the constraints of the tool we are using. So, but we'll try our possible best to make sure that we are serving you and we are providing the best for you. Let's move on so that we save our time. Our expectation, our objective is to finish chapter 1 today. Chapter 1, Introduction to Tax. What is a tax? What is a tax? Different from the definition I've given here. Is there anyone who wants to give us an idea in a layman's language what a tax is? Just ignore what I'm presenting. Just say it on your own. Can you raise your hand if you want to just tell us? Those of you that raised hand initially, is that a former hand or a new one? If it's a former one, you can put them down. Muhammad Nasif, you have the floor. What is a tax?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, in 30 seconds.
Okay,
You tell us your name and your location. Thank you.
My name is Nazif. I'm speaking from Sokoto.
From
State.
Sokoto, okay.
So tax is a compulsory levy imposed by government on its citizens to provide social amenities.
Okay, that's a very good one. Tax is a compulsory levy imposed by government on our citizens to provide basic amenities. I like that definition. It makes sense. Thank you, Nasif. Ismail Olanshile, you tell us your name and your location. Go on, Ismail. What is a tax? Okay, I think Ismail is not with us. Can I call on Adedayo Bigcroft? Adedayo, I hope your background is not noisy.
Good evening, I'm here. Ismail is there.
Ismail, okay. Ismail, yeah, take it.
Yeah, thank you.
Your
Latif
name
Ismail,
and your location.
Latif Ismail was actually from Ondo.
Ondo,
Yeah.
okay. What's the tax?
Tax is a compulsory levy on the income of an individual or corporation by the government for the purpose of financing government expenditures.
Expenditure. I like that. It is more elaborate for the purpose of financing government expenditure. Okay, that's a good one. Let me call on a lady so that we'll be gender balanced. Chidiebere. Egwonwo.
Okay, I would say that tax is a compulsory contribution.
Sorry, you did not introduce yourself.
Okay,
Your
my name is
Let's take
Chidebere. My name is Chidebere from Lagos. Hello? Can I go on?
We can hear you.
Okay, I said tax is a compulsory
Yes.
contribution that is levied on taxable citizens by a constituted authority on their property, income, and goods and services in order to generate revenue so as to provide social amenities and other services to the people.
Okay, that is very articulate. Thank you. Thank you, Chidiebere.
Thank you, sir.
I like this class. I love this class. So this is a class of question. This is how I want a class to be. People should have idea of what they are going. They are actually fine. You are coming to class. I'm only a facilitator, and that's why we do not use the word lecturer. I'm not here to tell you what you don't know. All this you know. I'm just here to guide you. I'm your facilitator, just to guide you. So on your own, you can make more research, have more information, and then get things on your own. Sometimes you can come in class, challenge lecturer. Sir, I don't think it's like that. Some students may be more updated than the lecturers themselves. So, and that is what we are encouraging in a class like this. So it's not just a class of tell you and you just take it like that, right? So it's not that type of class. So thank you all. You all have said good things. Compulsory levy. Let's underline some key points. Compulsory. Charge. You can also say levy. Imposed. The word imposed is also going back to the word compulsory, right? By governments. So it is the government that collects tax. So if government is collecting it, they are charging it on who? Persons, which is individuals, entities, corporate bodies. And if they are collecting it from persons and corporate entities, what are they charging it on? They are charging the taxation on income. If you make income, government is here, they will collect tax. If you make loss, they won't collect tax. They will even relieve. They are going to give you some incentive on the losses you make for some certain years. In fact, I think the current practice is that you can even carry loss forward indefinitely. Relieve previous losses on the current income and pay tax on the residue. It is a form of incentive. By the time we get to tax incentives, we are going to explain better. So all these charges or taxes are applied on one income. Sometimes income, like maybe if you say they are applied on income, like personal income tax, the type of tax that is applied on income. Companies income tax is a type of tax that is applied on income, right? What else? Like NITDA, NASENI, all those are types of taxes that are applied on income. So if a tax is not applied on income, it can also be applied on properties. If you have properties, right? People that are affluent, they charge tax on their properties, like assets. Who can tell me a good example of taxes applied on properties? Who can tell me a type of tax that's applied on properties? Yes? Okay, let me call someone. Let me call. Sulaiman, are you trying to unmute yourself?
No, sir. My name is
No,
Suleiman
sir.
Kabiru. My name is Suleiman
Okay.
Kabiru from Taraba State.
Okay.
Yes, the example of tax on properties are VAT.
What?
Value added tax.
Value added tax. That is not correct. You can mute yourself. Another person. Babajide Ajayi, you can say something.
Okay, sir. Good evening, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
My name is Ruafemi Ajayi from Badagry.
Okay.
So
Okay.
government can charge like a tenement rate.
Okay. Tenement rate. Okay. Tenement rate. Okay. Is that the only example you have for us?
Okay. I think tenement rate. That's what I can think of now.
Okay. Okay. That's a good one. That's a good one. Tenement rates. So which is applicable on your assets or taxes that is applicable on properties. Okay, so that we can save our time, let's move on. So every other person you can then Elizabeth, your hands has been up for a while. Do you want to say something? Okay, let's continue. Everyone just mute yourself, please. Thank you. Okay, so those are the types of tax that's applicable on properties. Tenement rates. I was actually expecting someone to mention capital gains tax. Capital gains tax is not a tax that is applicable on property. It is applicable on gains, which is income. So when you sell your properties at gain, you apply. But like tenement rates, it's different, right? They will apply it on your property. So tax can also be applied on sales, and that is where value-added tax is coming in. Value-added tax is a sales and goods services, right? So in order to generate revenue, so every government has to develop tax system for economics and social, social reasons. Sorry, I have to just edit that for economic and social reasons. Well done. Okay, so let's continue. Objective of taxation. The first one is to generate revenue. The second one is to redistribute income and wealth. We have found ourselves in a world where some people have more, while some people are very poor. There's a whole lot of gap between the poor and the rich. In fact, there was a documentary I read some years back, which says that there has not been any time in the generation of humanity that human beings have the kind of wealth they have now. You have some persons that are so rich, like the richest men in the whole world, the likes of Elon Musk, Bill Gates, the likes of Warren Buffett, the likes of okay, let's come home. Aliko Dangote, the richest man in Africa. We have Rabi Abdul Samad, Tony Elumelu. These are rich people. They are wealthy, right? And we have some people that are very poor. It is very, very difficult for them to eat 3 square meals in a day. So we found ourselves in that world where people are super rich, while some people are super poor. So it is now the objective of the government to zoom get the excess from those people that have much, and we distribute it amongst the citizens so that everyone will be fine. So, and they achieve this objective through taxation, through an effective taxation system. And that is one of the objectives. That's one of the reasons when they were questioning a lot of questions. I told a lot of questions to Mr. Taiwo Yedele that you said he wants to increase the personal income tax rates. Don't you want to cause problem like this? And he pointed them at few important points to say, okay, it's not only the fact that he wants to increase the rate. What we are saying is that the tax system we are running is placing a burden much on the poor people that do not have. While the rich, they only pay few, whereas they're supposed to be paying more. So that's his own argument to say, okay, let the rich, poor, either pay less or none, so that we can collect from people that have much, and we distribute it amongst the levels or the stages or the families, the citizens that we have in the country. So that's one of the objectives. So another one is to manage economy. Government wants to spend. They have to do some amenities. They have to do some projects, right? But where do they get money? The first of revenue is tax. So if maybe after the tax they do not get so much, they can now go and borrow. The fourth objective is harmonization of the economic objective to improve gross national income. So it is also determined. It is also a determination of GNI, gross national income, and to induce economic development and influence a variable balance of payments with other countries. So government needs to tax and get money so that they can be able to influence a favorable BOP. So balance of payments, from those of you that are coming from a commercial or business background, so you would know what a balance of payment is, right? The balance of payment is the excess of your exports over your imports. So sometimes it can go into deficit, sometimes it can go into surplus. So it depending on your economic situation and influence and some factors that drive it. So that's objective. Let's move to type of tax system. We have three: proportional tax system, we have progressive tax system, and we have regressive tax system. A proportional tax system is a tax system that applies a flat rate of tax on the income or property. The objective is to redistribute income from the wealthy to the less privileged. So proportional tax system is saying that every single person will pay same type of tax, same percentage on their income. For example, 10%. Okay, 10% on me that is earning 200,000 naira on monthly basis. I'm going to drop 20,000 naira. So, okay, what if someone is earning 20 million? Same 10%. The person is going to drop 200,000 naira. So we have collected more from the wealthy so that we're able to redistribute it. Even though the rate is a flat rate, but yet the higher your income, the higher tax you are going to pay through that flat rate. So then we have another system, which is the one we practice in Nigeria. Currently, because they've not changed the system, right? It's a progressive tax system. So this one will apply a higher rate on higher income earners. So, and that is the type of tax we run currently, where we have some certain rates, 7, 11, 15, 19, 21, 24. So it graduates. So we see a situation whereby some people will not pay more than 7% if their income falls within a certain bracket. If it is either 300,000 naira or less, and that is even the taxable income after you have deducted all necessary deductibles. So also the new tax rate for companies as proposed by Finance Act 2019 also, this is another example. The current personal income tax rate table is a good example of a progressive tax system. The new tax rate that is proposed, that is, it's not even proposed, that is enacted. Let me change that word. I'm not a proposer. Perhaps I've not changed that word because I remember that that Finance Act 2020 was a proposal as I was writing, since I was when I was writing the summary notes. I remember. Let's say the new tax rates for companies according to the Finance Act 2019, which says 0% on small companies, 20% on medium companies, and 30% on large companies. So graduates. So we have the third type of tax system, which is a regressive tax system. It's not common. So this one, you pay less taxes as your income increases. You pay less taxes. It's not common. I'm not even sure this is applicable in any economy in the world. Because what is the idea? The idea of taxation is to collect more from the rich and redistribute it to the poor. So if we are now practicing a regressive tax system, that means the primary objective will be defeated. So that's why it's not applicable. So let's move to class. Is the person that is having that impact or that the tax is happening to. That's what incidence is talking about. So we have two types of classification according to the incidence of tax. The first one is a direct tax and the second one is indirect tax. A tax whereby both the incidence of tax and the impact is on the same person. So we call that a direct tax. What we mean, let me explain. And gadgets of the tax are the same person, right? So that one we say it is a direct tax. A good example of that is company income tax. The company that wants to collect company income tax from is the company that is paying it. It is the one that is bearing it. You can't transfer it. Another example is personal income tax. Government wants to tax every individual. They want to make sure that every individual pay his own quota of tax from what they generate, from the income they make every year. So it is you, they will tax you. They will collect the tax from you. It is from your own money, and it is you that you will pay it. Same thing with PPT, personal profits tax, and CGT, company gains tax. So all these taxes, you can't transfer it to another person. It is targeted at you, and it is you that you pay it. Same thing with education tax. So then the second classification is an indirect tax. So indirect tax is a situation, it's a type of tax whereby the incidence of the tax is on one party. That is where you understand the incidence very well now. But the impacts and the burden of that tax fall on another party. Fall on another party. So what we are saying here is that this is a type of tax whereby the government wants to collect it for some persons, but those persons that they are collecting it from are not the people that they actually want to target. Do you understand? So what we are saying here is that a good example of this is VAT. VAT. So the government wants to collect VAT is a goods and service tax. It's a form of, we have different types of sales tax. So VAT is a type. So value added tax is a tax that they actually want to target the final consumer. So however, the incidence is happening on one party. Who are the agents of collection for governments? Like companies that you are buying from. They will add VAT. You will pay the company. So the company will now pay the tax authority. However, the burden will not be borne by that company. It is me and you that are buying because they are adding that 7.5% rate on everything that they're selling to us. So we are paying it indirectly, right? You are not paying the government directly, but you are paying them indirectly. So the burden is on us, the impact is on us, while the incidence is happening to another person. That's a good example of indirect tax. So I hope that explains better. I have to delete this. So let's move to the next subtopic, which is the tax system. Tax system is in every country usually involves a tripartite aspect. The first one is what is known as tax policy. The second one is known as tax laws. Then the third one is known as tax administration. So let's take them one after another. What is the tax policy? The tax policy, it is a general statement of intention. A tax policy is a written document which guide the thinking of the concerned person, taxpayer and tax authority, towards the realization of the set goals. They usually include one, movement of emphasis from income tax to consumption tax that is less prone to tax evasion. Moving from direct to indirect tax. So when we say, okay, what's the tax policy? If you look at what the government is trying to do now, because Mr. Taiwo Yedele is making us understand that the rate of VAT that we currently have is the cheapest, is the least, the smallest in Africa. And that rate has to go up. But in advantage, or let me say, with respect to that, they are giving us some incentive that is going to reduce the burden on individuals. So which means the tax policy that Nigerian government is looking towards is to move from direct to indirect tax. Why? Because you cannot evade so much if a whole lot of the system in the country or in the economy is an indirect tax. You will definitely pay it. So pursuing tax law regime with the aim of reducing individual tax burden, widening tax nets, and encouraging savings and investments. Introduction of self-assessment scheme to encourage taxpayers participating in tax assessment process. The current practice of companies' income tax is self-assessment. So what the government is saying is that the system or the policy is to say, okay, compute your tax computation, calculate your tax that you want to pay yourself, then come and pay. Then, but they know that people may not be truthful or factual with what they pay. They now say file as you are paying. So once you file, it's on the basis of your filing, the government will now say, okay, they have to now carry out a desk review on your books or an audit exercise, as the case may be, if necessary, or an investigation if it warrants. So another example of a tax policy is to move from coercive method of taxation to voluntary compliance, as Nigeria did in recent time, e.g., base and VORs. I could remember in 2016, Nigeria did a voluntary taxation method where they ask companies to voluntarily assess themselves of all taxes that they are owing the government, audit, investigation. Just assess yourself, declare voluntarily, and come and pay. So through VAS and VOARs, we are going to get to the VAS and VOARs as we move on. Tax laws. So tax law is the second tripartite of the tax system. The first one is tax policy. We've taken a look at that. So we are taking a look at the tax laws now. What is a tax law? What is a tax law? Is there anyone who can help me out on this? Can someone raise his hand? I want to see hand up. What is a tax law? I can't see hand up. Okay, Mr. Sulaiman Kabiru. Okay. Kindly unmute yourself. I've allowed you guys to unmute now. Unmute yourself and then tell us what a tax law is in a layman's language. Okay, Mr. Suleiman cannot do that. Abdullah Nasiru, unmute yourself and then tell us what a tax law is.
I'm Abdullah Nasir.
You will introduce yourself and then tell us your location.
Abdullah Nasir from Canons, State, sir.
Okay.
The tax laws is the rule and regulation that will govern the taxpayers and the tax authority.
Okay, thank you. Rules and regulation that is governing a taxpayer. That's fine. Adeolu Adeyeye. Adeolu, are you there?
Yeah, good evening, sir. My name is
Good evening.
Adelu Adeye from Benin City. Yes, I'm
From
here.
Benin City, okay? Yes, we can.
Yes, yes. Okay. So tax law is the legislation that backs the administration of taxation in Nigeria or anywhere in the world.
Okay, that's a very good one. That's a very good one. The word anywhere in the world does not work because tax is bound by jurisdiction, by country. So let's leave the anywhere in the world. The tax that binds every jurisdiction. So I like that. So let's so that we can move on. So others, you can raise, you can lower your hand. I'm going to accommodate more questions so that we can make the class interactive, right? A tax law is rules and regulation that guides administration and paying of taxation. It guides both administration and paying of taxation. So they include one. These are the different types of tax laws that we have. We have Personal Income Tax Act of 2004, Companies Income Tax Act of 2004, Personal Profit Tax Act. We have Value Added Tax. We have Acts, Value Added Tax Act. We have Capital Gains Tax Act, Education Tax Act, Stamp Duties Act. So all these are the types of laws, tax laws that we have. So are the tax laws that we have. And we have a quite number of them recently, like the withholding tax regulation that was, I think, enacted, I think sometimes in July, and is to be effective in January, from January 2025. So in Nigeria, power to impose tax is within the exclusive list. Let me underline that. It is only the federal government that can impose tax. However, to collect and administer is shared among the three tiers of governments. So the third tripartite of tax system is tax administration. This involves practical interpretation and application of tax laws. The bodies in charge are the Federal Inland Revenue Service, State Inland Revenue Services, Local Government Revenue Committee. So these are the body that administer taxes at different levels of governments. Okay. Number one is the tax base. The tax base is the portion of the taxpayer's income or property or revenue that suffers tax. So what part of your revenue is accessible to tax? And that is where we'll now be having a different definition of income. We have your gross income, which is subject to definition. You have your taxable income, which is after you have deducted all necessary deductibles, right? So that is the tax base. What is the amount that they are applying the rate on? Is the tax base. The second one is tax yield. This is the return derived from tax revenue. So tax yield is usually calculated by maybe the body like FRS. Now they will have their tax yield. So what is the percentage? It depends on how they actually want to calculate it. They may say what is the percentage of the tax generated against maybe the GDI, gross domestic and wants to do it. So we have the tax incidence. I've already explained this. So the tax impact, it looks like tax incidence as well. I've explained it earlier. Tax burden. Tax burden, also I've explained it, right? The burden, those people that they are feeling the impact of paying the taxation. A good example is the VAT system that we run, whereby the burden is placed on individuals, consumers, final consumers. So governments or companies or agencies that collect are just middlemen. So they do not feel the burden. Tax shifts. It is also referred to as tax swap, a change in taxation that eliminates or reduces one of several taxes by increasing or establishing others while keeping the overall revenue the same. This is a good example of what is happening currently with the old taxation system. Overall, they actually wants to carry out a total overhaul. What Mr. Taiwo Yedele is proposing with the new tax bill, right? It's a tax shift, a good example of tax shift. They are shifting, they want to reduce, eliminate, because they are saying that we have like more than 50 types of taxes from local level to federal level, so many. So they said they want to reduce it to 9. That is what Mr. Zacchaeus Dedeji, the FRS boss, said when he resumed newly, to say it is necessary that we reduce the number of taxes while maintaining the revenue, overall revenue. In fact, they can even increase itself with less type of taxes that they have. So we realize that the more the tax we have, the more issues, the more difficulty for people to manage, or for companies and individuals to manage. Tax effects. This describes the company of a particular transaction with respect to tax payable. So when we are saying tax effect, this is common maybe in an organization when maybe a transaction wants to happen, or they actually wants to buy something, they're asking you what is the tax consequence, what is the effect, what is the tax impact. So you have to tell them as a tax person. Sometimes they will come to us, consultants, to say, oh, tax consultants, right? Please, we want to do this. Can you help us just assess the tax impacts or the tax effects of this so that you can know better? So that's about the basis on few concepts. Tax and levies, how are they different? Tax is a compulsory payment, right? But those people that are paying the taxes, they do not directly expect something in return from the government, aside from general benefits of goods, good infrastructure, healthy living, and safe society. While levies are paid to government in return for specific services from governments to the taxpayer. For example, fines and penalty. So anyone that is paying fine and penalty is a levy. It's also a form of income to the government. However, if you are paying it for a certain reason, and you are actually expecting something in return from the government. You want from government to pardon you, perhaps maybe they seize one of your property, they not sanction you, you pay fine. So that one is a good example of levy, not tax. So let's move to an important concept, canons of taxation. These are very, very important. Please study it. I can do test them. So these are basic studies in tax, but I'm bringing it forward because there are principles applicable in practice, which will facilitate a good tax system in a country. Number one is canon of equality, right? What we are saying here is that the benefits of every citizen should be equal. And that is what tax has come to address. To say, okay, every citizen deserves good roads, good infrastructure, electricity, good structure. Why the poor they have less? So the canon of equality have come to say, okay, everybody must enjoy equal drive. And another example or another explanation to that is that equality in the sense that I want to take much from the poor and take much from the rich, take less from the poor so that we can redistribute it accordingly. Another one is the canon of certainty. According to Adam Smith, who is the father of economics, he said the time of payments, the manner of payments, and the amount to pay should be clear and plain. So people wants to pay tax. I could remember sometimes around 2023 when FRS brought about a change on tax formats with respect to filing and VAT. And the notice was not quite timely enough. In a tax cutter, they could not file. You also collect money from people, and you are bringing a system, a manner of payments, a payment platform that is not certain to them. It's not easy to pay. So the canon of certainty is saying that, see, look, nobody is happy to pay tax. That is the truth. But one of the certainty is tax. Tax is certain. But nobody is happy in paying it, right? We only pay it. Why? Because most especially in Nigeria, because we're asking ourselves, what is the essence? What is the usefulness of the tax I'm paying? Because government, we shall not go and manufacture money from somewhere else. So they have to collect it from us so that they can use it on us. So what the certainty canon is saying that the manner, the method, the people that will collect tax should be certain, not a case of stamp duty. We are FRS and what is their name? NIPOST are dragging. They drag it from 2020 up to now. They are still dragging. Who will collect stamps? So it should be certain. Who are we paying to? Who wants to pay? Yes, who are we paying to? So, and taxpayers should be educated, and they also should be aware what to pay, how to pay it, and who to pay to. Otherwise, there will be disputes. The third canon is the canon of economy. This one is saying that cost of collecting and administering tax should be as economic as possible. Is that in order to get or to collect tax from people, government should not be spending more to collect less. So it should be collecting or imposing or administering tax should be economical. Number 4 is the canon of convenience. This states that over time, manner of collection of taxes should be witnessed. No each should be witnessed. Let me change this. That's a mistake. Okay. Number 5 is the canon of productivity. Should not hinder their productive efforts. Right? You should not tax them. You should not burden them too much so that they can be more productive. And that is the essence of all the tax system. Yeah, you say, okay, tax. So anytime they bring the government will come and say, hey, it is because of the ease of doing business. So we now have to marry the types of taxation system we are running in Nigeria and compare it to the ease of, is it actually making business easy? It's very important to ask ourselves. The next one is the canon of elasticity. So the canon said that tax should be flexible and elastic. It should be flexible in the sense that the rates of taxes can be altered according to exigence of situation. Government can just wake up once the National Assembly just passes the law. It's fine. It's as good as to say, okay, tomorrow we are no more paying 7.5. That's graded of 10%. It can happen. So canon of diversity in the sense that you have to actually move in the trend at which the technology is moving. We cannot continue to be administering taxes with Bible and paper. We have to go global. Otherwise, we will be losing a lot of money. So, and now we realize that ever since the government has adopted the tax formats in 2021, the system, the paying, it has been so easy So just to put it in a very simpler manner, it is very easy for both the taxpayers, the tax consultants, and even the tax administrators themselves, FRS, to pay tax. But you don't have to be moving up and down, parking buses. Though sometimes they can be so funny. After you file, they'll be asking you to come and submit one. Once you are able to just file, this is as good as to say you are done. But because of maybe some of the sizes of what you're uploading, they will now say, okay, come and submit, which should not be necessary. Upgrade your system to be able to accommodate any upload that we are doing so that the physical contacts can be reduced. So that's about diversity. Embrace technology in taxation system. Then the last but not least is the canon of simplicity. Tax system should be simple. The tax system we run in Nigeria currently is so difficult to manage that companies they have to outsource their taxation. They have to outsource their tax department to consultants or their tax system to consultants so that they can manage for them, because it's so difficult and cumbersome. There's so many taxes, laws here and there, different financiers coming out every year. So it will be very difficult for them to manage. So it has to be simple, and that is what they're actually trying to drive at. So a layman can interpret and know what is due for him to pay. Sources of Nigerian tax laws. These are the sources: customary laws, assessment laws, case laws, circulars by tax authorities, opinions of tax experts, and then Constitution of the Federal Government of Nigeria. That is the first source in the Constitution. So see, this Nigerian, this is the nexus between we accountants and lawyers. It is part of being together. Why? Because the application, the computation, the administration, every single thing that has to do with tax is computation. And because taxation, you cannot be a good tax person without having some knowledge of accounting, right? So, but where the lawyers are actually invited and they come into play is the interpretation of the laws, right? That is where we now have lawyers in our profession. Why? Because this is a law. So, in law, sometimes the interpretation can be tricky. To be saying something, it will be showing something, you'll be reading something, and they'll be telling you that that's not the interpretation. So, we are going to get to maybe interpretation. I think maybe in the advanced paper, you have an interpretation of tax laws as a topic separately. So let's take a look at this concept. This is a very important concept. In the next 15 or 10 minutes, you should just draw the curtain for tonight's class. Multiplicity of tax in Nigeria. This situation whereby governments applies several taxes on one tax base. So a situation whereby companies will pay personal income, companies income tax, education tax, technology levy, corporate tax levy on one income. They pay NIDA, they pay NASENI, on one single income. So this is a type of multiplicity of taxes that the new tax regime, the proposed new tax regime that they are proposing, should come and solve. It is very common in local authorities. Those guys, because they just do something anyhow, they don't care. So, and what causes it? These are the causes of multiplicity of tax: the lack of sound personnel. These are personnel. This is it. So let me change it. Lack of sound personnel. Who can interpret the pronouncement of the tax laws properly? Ambiguity of the tax laws and status. The tax laws is too ambiguous. They are too ambiguous for a layman to interpret. So it should be simple. That's the essence of that simplicity as a canon that it talks about. Deliberate misinterpretation of tax laws by tax authorities. Oh, this one is common. They will interpret the law in a way that suits them. Even if you as a consultant or the taxpayer is telling them, no, but this is it, they'll be telling you, no, that's not the intent of the law in that aspect. Oh, FRS, I love them. They know how to do this very well. Aggressive nature of the tax officials in meeting their financial targets. So most of the officials, or let me say, tax authorities, they have targets, right? They have given them targets. So as we speak, FRS, they have their targets for 2025. How much they want. So they want to meet it. And they have they have watered down these targets maybe to different tax offices. So they want to meet a target. So there's no how. They be like, okay, collect tax on this one so that they can meet up their targets. Other reasons that will be encountered in practice. There are several reasons. It depends on which one you encounter. The impact is that it will hinder investments. If multiplicity of taxation, investments will not move. People will be afraid to bring their money down to Nigeria because our tax system is not certain. And living citizens with low disposable income, if you collect more from them, they will have less to spend. And that is not fair enough. So, like I said, it's common in the local authorities, by they use some kind of aggressive nature to collect tax, they mount blocks on road. They are very, they can be very, very unruly, most especially at the local government level. So possible solutions is to review all the tax laws in Nigeria and harmonize them. So they have to harmonize, and that's what they are trying to do now. Review it totally. Review the constitution. The constitution has to, because there are still some ambiguity in that constitution. Some people will come interpret it like this. Some people will come. I could remember when the issue of who to collect VAT arose some years back, that led the federal government, the state, I think Rivers State government and Lagos State government to enact their own VAT law. So, and why? What have they? They have used the fact that the constitution says that it is the state. So, but the I think maybe FRS or so. FRS appealed, and now they still maintain status quo up to then. So, and the reason is because the constitution has created ambiguity, so it has to be reviewed as well. Abolishing and limiting the number of revenue agencies. Revenue agencies are so much. Only one. In other countries, only one agency that is collecting money, that receives money. In the UK, it's HRMS, right? I think in the US, it's IRS. But in Nigeria, we have so many agencies. Even at a point, EFCC wants to be collecting money. They're writing letter to companies. I don't understand what is going on. Different agencies say they want to collect money. So it is something that has to be looked at, so that it will reduce the multiplicity of taxation in Nigeria, and we're going to have a fine system of tax amnesty, including the voluntary assets and income declaration scheme. In I think sometimes in 2016 or 2017, right? There was a system where government asked taxpayers, most especially companies, to voluntarily disclose any undisclosed income and assets relating to the preceding 6 years of assessment within 9 months period, from 1st of July 2017 to 30th of June, I think to March, to 31st of March 2018. And they now extended the period by another 3 months. So which means for a whole year, they actually carried out these bids. And what they did was that to say, okay, assess your books yourself, look at what you are owing us, and come and pay. And they issue them a certificate after that to say you would, for this period that you have voluntarily declared your income and pay, you will not be audited and you will not be investigated for that period. And that sticks, right? So for those periods, once you have that base certificate, no tax authority will audit you for that period. So these are the objectives: is to provide taxpayers time-limited opportunities to regularize their tax status, to implement tax policy of voluntary declaration as embedded in the national tax policy. I think the national policy is a subtopic under this chapter, right? We are going to take a look at that. To grant taxpayers forgiveness of overdue interest and penalty, and to assure them that they will not face criminal prosecution for tax offenses or tax audit or investigation. I've said this. Eligibility to participate. These are the people that can participate. Anyone who has under-remitted their taxes, it is an opportunity for you to been able to not file initially, it's an opportunity for them to do the right thing. So within those 1 year, people just did number. A lot of people, they benefited from it, and up till now, till tomorrow, those period, nobody will ask or open their books for any tax audit or investigation. So these are the requirements. You have to disclose. Your disclosure must be complete, and they will verify. So, and there's a form, there's a base form that you have to fill, and the assessment of the taxpayer must be carried out by the relevant tax authority. So, what are the benefits of the scheme? What are the benefits of the scheme? These are the benefits. It immunizes you from tax audits and investigation. It immunizes you from prosecution for tax offenses. It waives you of interest and penalties, and it also gives an opportunity to spread the outstanding liability over a maximum period of time. So once you enter the scheme and you participated, and now they have issued you maybe your tax liability that you have to pay, you can defray it over 3 years and pay based on the agreement you have with the relevant tax authority. So the consequence of not participating is that you are going to pay the right tax if you do not participate. So people that did not participate, they have to pay the right taxes. So that is about VATs. Then we also have VOARS, VOARS. This has to do with assets, not income. The Voluntary Offshore Assets Regulation Scheme, which was also initiated after VATs. This was initiated in October 2018, and it seeks to provide an incentive for taxpayers who have defaulted in the payment of taxes, especially foreign assets and foreign sourced income relating to the preceding 30 years of assessments, to voluntarily declare their offshore assets or income. So this is talking about people that have assets outside Nigeria. So, and they are saying that, okay, disclose all your assets and pay a certain percentage on it, and you will not be asked about those assets forever and ever. So that's the idea. You can read more on that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we are going to draw the curtain for tonight. Thank you for your attention. Let's clap. Clap for Apex. Clap for Apex. Clap for Apex. Clap for Apex. We have really done well. Thank you. So for the next 10 minutes, I'm going to accommodate questions. Please raise your hand. If I do not call you, please do not unmute. Thank you. Raise your hand if you have any question. Okay. Let me call on John Odo to ask his question. You mentioned your name and your location. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is John. Yeah, my name is John Odo from Lagos State. So my question is concerning the tax system. Now, you mentioned 3 types. You mentioned tax policy, tax law, and tax administration. So I'm a bit confused about this tax policy and the tax law, because to me now, tax law and policy, that's all related. You get my point. So I just want to know. I just want you to expatiate on this tax law in a layman language for me to understand it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So let me quickly explain that. So tax policy. A policy is not a law. So a policy is just like an agreement, suggestion. I think it was in 2017? Yes, 2017, during Jonathan regime, if I'm not mistaken. Was it Jonathan or Buhari? So there was a national tax policy. So national tax policy is to actually gather stakeholders from different fields, people that have experience of how the tax system should be, and they proposed some information. So I think in chapter 2, we are going to take a look at the tax policy. We are going to review the contents of the tax policy. So tax policy is not a law. So it is this now driving the law. So let me tell you for a fact that it is on the basis of those information that we have in the tax policy that is driving the new proposed tax laws that we now have, right? So it is based on those information that we have. So tax law is compulsory. That one has to go through the National Assembly, right? It has to go through, it has to be approved. It has to be read. First reading, second reading, then they will enact it, then the president will now comment to it. That's the law. But the policy is not a law, it's just like some form of suggestion, ideas on how the tax law or our system should be. Do you guess now? So one is a law, one is not a law. So that's the difference. So I'm going to call on Olanwaju Olalekan. Ask your question.
Oh, thank you very much, sir.
Welcome.
Good evening.
Your name and
my name is Olanwaju. I'm from Ogun State here.
Okay.
Okay, so I have two questions basically. One is theoretical, the other one is practical. So the first one is, I've always had issues with understanding what tax shift is. I find it confusing because at the time when I was studying tax shifts, I learned that there's forward shifting, there's backward shifting. So it's kind of confusing when I now want to link it to tax shift, tax swap. So I don't know if you can explain that very well, sir.
Okay. As it implies here, so what tax shift is meaning, what it means is that, so you are shifting. It's like when we say shifts, you are moving significantly, right? That's what it means. We are moving significantly. So it now depends on how you want to do it. So the idea of whether backward or forward may not necessarily be important here. So what we are saying here is that it is a significant change in the taxation system, which eliminates or reduces one or several taxes by increasing or establishing others. So what we are saying here is that, like I said, I explained it to what is going on, that the Taxation and Fiscal Committee headed by Taiwo Yedele saying it's like a shift. Why? Because they actually want to reduce the number of taxes, whereas they still want to maintain the revenue that we generate from taxes. So, but what they are trying to do here is to reduce the burden, reduce the administration, reduce the management, so that a layman can be able to do taxes on their own. Companies will be free to actually say, okay, they want to manage their taxes on their own, though they may still need to require some information or some services from consultants, right? But it should be simple. So it's a shift. A shift means it is a pragmatic move from one system that is appealing, that is stressful, that is ambiguous, right? And then shift it to a very simple and less stressful tax system. So that is what tax. Another thing that we may use to explain a tax shift, the situation whereby a company is shifting its tax to be paid from one jurisdiction to another, which may lead to transfer pricing issue. It's also a tax shift. So that's about tax shifts.
Oh,
so then another person. Oh, is that all?
No, I said I have two questions, sir.
Yeah, so I actually want us to also consider others, but ask your question, no problem.
Oh, okay, thank you very much, sir. The other one is when we're talking about tax laws, and then but we could see that most of these acts are actually dated back 2004. Although I know that there has been amendments and all, but don't you think, like, this is an application question, don't you think that most of the parts of these acts would have been so much outdated?
Yeah, so that's what we are saying. So see, amendments is not a law, right? Amendments, so they're just amending. So if they now carry out a total overhaul of that tax system, word for word, section by section, pronouncement by pronouncement, they will change the year. Do you understand? So as we still speak, the Tax Act will still maintain. Personal income tax is still 2004. Even the company income tax, while they say as amended by several finance acts, right? So finance act have come to amend some of the sections, but it still maintains the fact that the last shift was still 2004. Do you understand? So leave the year of those things. What is important is the fact that, okay, what are they saying? Or what is the current application of those acts? So leave the years. It's not important for now until maybe the new one they are proposing, if it now sees the light of the day or the day of the light, yes, we can now say perhaps maybe the year will change. A good example is Company Income Tax Act 20. I think we used to have 1990 before. They now changed in 2020. So, and they have to change the year. So that's about that.
Thank you very much.
Okay. You are welcome. You can lower your hand. So let me accommodate.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Have I called you?
Oh, okay. No.
Okay, I've not called you. I'm very sorry. Okay, but you can go ahead. Take your question. Let's take it as the last question. Others, please drop your question on the chats, or we are going to open the group after the class so that you can drop your question. Ask your questions there. We'll attend to it. Ask your question.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the lecture, sir. I'm Femi, calling from Lagos, Badagry. When you were discussing progressive tax, I heard you saying you pay according to your salary, maybe probably percentage. The more you earn, the more you pay. So I now thought of those people like company owners, maybe like Dangote. Yes, sir. So what of after they have made their profit? I know they would have removed the salary for the workers and the remaining one that will be shared by the shareholder. Now, after they have already deducted the tax, are they going to still tax that their own again? If they are going to tax again, is it not amounting to double taxation? So that's what is like. Are they going to still tax? Okay, thank you, sir.
No, it's not double taxation, right? So look, there's individual, there's business. There are two things. So any individual that own business and you are running your business under the name of individual, it depends on what you register your business as, whether as an individual or as a limited liability company, right? So for example, now as an individual, you have to pay tax. Your company also have to pay tax if you own a company. So, and that is why maybe in an agency like that of Lagos State government, they have a department where they administer taxes for HNIs, so high net worth individuals, like directors of companies, business owners, so they will assess them to tax. Why? Because they know that one, fingers are not equal. These who earn higher, they earn big. So it is not a double taxation. Why? Because you are carrying out your business, the business will pay tax. So at the end of the day, as an individual, as a business owner, right, a shareholder, you will receive dividend. So on that dividend, they are going to deduct 10% before you get your money. And at the end of the day, if you now have any other business, right, that you do, that the income that you get is not only on the dividend that you are receiving, so you are expected to self-assess yourself under self-assessment. So on or before 31st March of every year. So you file a form, which is I think Form A. Is it Form A? Yes, there's Form H1. And there is Form A, yes, there's Form A where you have to now assess yourself, disclose all your income. So they will now assess you. So whereby all your withholding tax that have been deducted from source will be reduced, will be removed income, your taxable income, and the tax liability will now be paid on the residual. So that's about that. So it's not a double taxation. Business is different from the owners. That's how it is. So on this occasion, we are going to draw the curtain for tonight's lecture. Thank you all for attending this class. Drop your questions maybe on the chats. After we open the group, we will accommodate them. We are going to attend to them. The next class, perhaps you may not see me in your next class. I only covered up because your supposed tutor was not chanced. So you will see your tutors in the subsequent classes. Thank you all for your decorum. We hope to give you to actually serve you and give you much more better. Some persons are asking about the note. The summary note is not free. So if you need it, you reach out to me. And personally in DM, cost 2,000 naira only, you can get, right? If you so wish, right? So that you can read ahead. So thank you so much. We would implore you guys, perhaps maybe you missed the class or you follow the class, please make use of the comments section in the YouTube. Drop your comments, any ideas that you want us to improve on, feedbacks. We are going to just work on them. Let's see how it goes. May God be with us. Thank you all. Let me give you the remaining 8 minutes so that I can prepare for the next class, which is audit and assurance. So thank you all. Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.